Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Coffee with Tea. I'm your host, the amazing T Street. Today's topic: don't skip the process of moving from the valley to victory. We all know what it feels like to be in a valley. One of the reasons I wanted to cover this topic at this time is because next week, in a couple of weeks, we're coming upon Thanksgiving. And while it's a time of celebration for a whole lot of people because it reminds us to come together as family and to celebrate, for some of us, it's a time of remembrance and a time to remember those who are no longer sitting at the table. In my own family, our table went from a lot of people, but as the elders are getting older, the numbers of people have gotten smaller. I remember the first Thanksgiving without my mom, the first Christmas without my mom, and how heavy that season was. And so I wanted to cover this topic of moving from the valley to victory. Sometimes we're in seasons that seem low, unclear, or overwhelming. And sometimes it just feels downright depressing. But valleys aren't meant to be permanent places, they're merely passageways. And today, I want to walk us through the process of moving from the valley to victory because victory is not just possible, y'all. It's promise when you lean into the process. Now, notice I said that it is a process. The first step in the process is facing the valley with honesty. You can't conquer what you won't confront if you won't even acknowledge that it exists. Too often we downplay our struggles or we pretend we're fine. You're like, "How you doing?" "I'm good. I'm good." When in reality, we might be frustrated, we might be fearful, we might be fatigued, we might be battling, y'all, the fight of our lifetime. We don't have to pretend like the valleys don't exist. Y'all, one of the most quoted Psalms is the 23rd Psalm. And there's a part of the 23rd Psalm that says, "Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me." Can I just remind us that sometimes we get excited about the "thou art with me" part, because you should. But can I remind you that David acknowledged that we weren't meant to pitch a tent in the valley? As I said earlier, it's just a passageway because he said, "Yea, though I walk through the valley." Because he knew that the valley is not a permanent place. I tell people I may visit the valley, but I ain't pitching no tent and staying. I might walk through the valley, but I ain't what? Sitting down because I know I'm not meant to be there. And if I sit too long, I don't know about you, but I get stuck. Facing the valley of life, it means naming where you are and how you feel about it. It means admitting your disappointment, your confusion, your hurt, but not letting those feelings define what's next for you. Take a moment, y'all, just to identify what is your valley. Is it emotional? Is it financial? Is it spiritual? Is it loneliness? Is it relational? Clarity starts with our honesty. Good morning, Sister Rhonda Sharp. The second step: find strength in the middle. I tell people when I was in my valley, I started singing that song, "There's a lily, it's in the valley." That was in that middle. The lily came to be with me in the valley. Find strength in the middle. Victory is built in the middle, not just at the end of a battle. The valley is where God strengthens us. He shapes us and he stabilizes us. He lets us know that where we are, we don't have to stay there. Sometimes the greatest growth, it happens in the lowest places. I know for me, when I've been at my lowest, sometimes I start to look up and worship because I know based on past history that it's when I've been at my lowest that my God has been at his highest and his best. Roots grow deeper underground before fruit shows above the ground. What you do in the middle, it determines who you'll be at the end. Will you pray through it? Will you practice consistency and not give up simply because it's hard? Will you keep showing up even when the feelings don't match the victory? Because y'all know feelings are flaky and fleeting. Instead of asking, "Why am I here?" I ask myself, "What am I learning while I'm here?" I stopped panicking, y'all, and I start shifting my panic to purpose. The middle of the valley is where spiritual muscles are built. So the second step, find strength in the middle. And the third step in the process of moving from the valley to victory is quite simple. It's following God's path out. You don't come out of a valley by accident. You walk out by obedience. God always provides a path to victory. But if I'm honest, sometimes that path, it has required discipline on my part. It has required me to trust God, and it has required me to surrender me. The valley is temporary, but victory requires movement. You can't stay seated in self pity and expect to walk into purpose. When my mother died, y'all, I was tempted. I was going through self pity, y'all. I was planning the party. I sent out invitations. I bought the cake. I put candles on the cake, and I lit the candles because I had lost my mom. And I heard my mom in my ear saying to me, I'm going to need you to blow out those candles on your pity party cake because you weren't meant to stay here. And so when people ask me, T, 4 days after you buried your mother, how did you get on a stage in the state of California 4 days after burying your mom? And I said, because I simply did this. And I realized that the valley was someplace that I walked through, but I would not stay there because it was temporary. When God leads you, he doesn't just bring you out, he brings you out better. Somebody needed to know that. He brings you out stronger. He brings you out wiser. We all sing those songs. I'm stronger. I'm wiser. I'm better. You didn't just get that. You got that by walking through the valley. And when you come out, you now have a testimony. Ask God, what's my next step? It might be forgiving someone. It might be releasing something. It might be releasing God, releasing your anger at God because of somebody that's no longer here and you've been mad at God. Take that step and watch how quickly the valley begins to lift. From valley to victory, y'all, it's a process, as everything in life is. Victory isn't a moment, it's a process. And your victory is already in motion the moment that you face the valley with honesty, that you find strength in the middle, and that you follow God's plan and his path for you out. I don't know who needed this message, but if you are somebody who is visiting the valley, I came to tell you, David said, yea, though I walk through the valley. It's all right for you to walk through, but whatever you do, don't allow the enemy to talk you into pitching a tent because you weren't meant to stay in the valley. I'm the amazing T Street. There's absolutely positively nothing amazing in me that's not in each and every one of you. So if you are one of those people who in this season of life is in the valley, don't you dare pitch a tent because you weren't meant to stay in the valley. You were meant to live in victory. Have an amazing day.